Hey everybody, it's Jenny and I'm back with you again today to share how I planned this week in my Classic Happy Planner. Now, let's be clear, I want to share with you I already planned this week. You can see it right here. And I just didn't love it. I wanted to. I really wanted to love it, but it's a special week. It's my oldest son's 17th birthday, and so because of that, I decided I was going to let myself replan even though I normally just say it's no big deal, it's just 1 week, and I would ordinarily go that way. I picked up these goodies from Peachy Cheap last week and I am obsessed with some of the items in it, particularly some of these patterns in this pattern paper. So I decided that I wanted to go ahead and use that because I loved it so much. So I'm taking the Happy Planner Classic Punch and punching out 3 pieces of the patterned paper. And I'm using the stripes, the plaid, and then this circle. And you'll see in a little bit why I kind of tie the circle into this layout. I mean, obviously I love the yellow, but I also wanted to have it tie in with the theme that I'll be using on the weekend as well, because remember I said it's my son's birthday. So you can see I created the visual triangle right here. If you took a pen or a pencil, you could draw a triangle between those 3 pieces. It doesn't have to be even or anything like that. It just has to be a triangle. Now I'm going to use my mono adhesive and adhere those patterned papers down, and they're so cute. I love them so much, and I'm just adhering them and getting super excited about the colors and stuff like that that I'll be able to use this week. And I'm also really excited because since the theme of these planner pages, it's purple, and A, purple is my son's favorite color, and then B, it matches what I'm using. How often does that happen? Okay, so I'm also going to be doing a little bit of stamping. So you can see I've pulled out this stamp and then my clear stamp block. And I'm going to take the purple VersaFine ink and go ahead and use that for my checklist right there on Monday. Now that little block of inks, yes, I have other inks, but those are the ones that I mainly use for my stamping. So you can see I don't have 100 inks that I use for stamping in my planner because the majority of the time I use the black VersaFine, and that's exactly all I want to use. Now I've pulled out this other stamp set because I really want to use the little push pin. I love the push pin icon. I just think it's so much fun, and it's just one of the ones that I find myself reaching for if I'm going to use an icon specifically for like a bullet point or something like that. Now I am using some, I'll call them vintage, but they're not vintage because they're really only a couple years old, but some Scraptastic Club stickers. Unfortunately, you can't purchase these because they are no longer a company, I guess. And so find myself a little bit hoarding these stickers, which I'm not a hoarder. I'm a user of stickers, but they're not making anymore. So I don't want to completely blow through my stash of them because I love them so much, and they're just definitely my very favorites. So now I'm pulling out another little stamp. It's just so cute. It's a really awesome little box and it gives plenty of room. Now I am using a light pink Prima chalk ink. Now, like I said, I normally use most of the inks that are in that little box. However, there are a couple of colors like a light pink and a yellow that I don't have in that little box, and so I do reach for those from my normal stash. It's a chalk ink. Chalk ink is also a pigment. It just has a couple different little texture, and I'm trying to think of the word, a couple of different things about it that make it specifically a chalk ink. I've gone ahead and added a little icon in the circle because it's adorable, and then I am finished with Tuesday. Now I like to leave a little bit of white space, and this is for a couple of reasons. One, I'm a white space planner. I like the way that it looks. I like the freedom it gives my eye to move about the page. I also like it because things pop up during the week and I need to add to my planner, and so this way I have plenty of room to be able to do that. Now you can see on Wednesday I used a different type of checklist to take care of my to-do list, and it's kind of got like that variegated watercolor, and I just love it. It's so pretty, and I just like the way that it looks. It's different from the stamped checklist. Now I'm adding the little baseball icon to the side of that box. It's one of my favorite things to do. I just think it's really fun and I think it looks adorable, and then also it obviously really shows that it's a baseball game with that little baseball icon, which obviously I don't really need that. I mean, I know it's a baseball game, but I think it's super adorable. So now, like I said, you can see on Wednesday, for example, how there is lots of white space right there, and I'm really excited about that. I think that it's super adorable. See, there's that little push pin that I told you about. I just love it. And it actually works out great because I do end up scheduling a haircut and I need the room to write down a haircut right there. So white space really works out well for me. Now you can see that I've gone ahead and stamped my to-do list on Thursdays. For whatever reason, Thursdays are usually light days for me, and so I don't have a ton of activities I need to put down, and I also don't usually have a super long to-do list. Now you can see I'm pulling out this stamp set by Jilly Bean Soup, and the balloon I'm literally obsessed with. I try not to tell you guys I love stuff if I don't really love it because it kind of cheapens the things that I do love, but I love this balloon. It is so cute. I've got a piece of cardstock and I'm using my Memento ink. I'm priming the stamp by rubbing it on the back of my hand, and I'm going to stamp the balloon 3 times on this piece of paper with the Memento ink. And you're thinking, Jenny, why Memento? I'm going to use Copic markers for coloring it. Now I am drying the ink as much as I possibly can before I start coloring so that it doesn't bleed with the Copics. And that's my entire stash of Copics. I'm not a huge colorer, so I don't need a gazillion colors. I'm also not a great colorer. I mean, I've taken one Copic online class and I do enjoy coloring with them. However, I'm not an expert and I don't have the desire to be an expert either. I think that's also one of the things to note. I'm doing a little bit of darker shading around the outside so I can give that illusion of light hitting the balloon in the middle just to make it a little bit more interesting and a little bit more dimensional. Now, one of the things that you can't really tell because I have the video sped up is that I'm coloring in a circular pattern. Obviously not those long broad strokes around the outside, but the other strokes that are moving super quickly that you can't really see, they're all little circular motions just to make the ink blend in well together. Now, again, it's not really a huge issue because Copics are alcohol-based inks, and so they don't leave streak marks or anything like that, but I just like to be sure. Now see how I left those little lighter areas? It looks like that's where the light is hitting the balloons, and so it just gives it a little bit, tiny bit more dimension. Now let's be clear, I'm not an expert, I'm not great, I actually know very little about coloring, and I'm cool with that because I don't want to be a Copic expert. I just enjoy doing it every now and again and adding it to my projects. And so that's why this tiny little stash works great for me. So you can see I'm finishing coloring up the yellow as well. And then I will take my Fun Stampers Journeys, the little pro shears, because they're, oh my gosh, they're so sturdy and so sharp and they're just perfect. I love them. And I'm going to trim out the balloons. I've super sped this part up so that you don't have to sit here and watch me cut because A, I'm not a great cutter, and B, I mean, who wants to watch somebody else cut, am I right? So I sped this part up. So I'm cutting out the balloons and I'm going to add them to the layout. Now I did all of this because I wanted to be able to color the balloons in with the Copics, and they do bleed through massively. So don't ever use Copics right straight on your planner pages. So hence the cardstock to stamp those balloons on there. So now I will use again the Tombow mono adhesive to adhere these balloons down just like I did with the patterned paper. And you can see I'm just adding a little bit on the back and in that little cluster so it reminds us of like a little handful of balloons. Am I right? Obviously it's not quite that way, but now these also come with these really super adorable words that look like strings for the balloons. Now I'm just going to let you in on a little secret. I totally screw these up and I really just wasn't paying attention and I wasn't really focused on what I was doing. I was kind of watching TV at the same time, and so it happens. So my point being, and I'm leaving this here because I want you to know that A, everybody screws up sometimes. B, it's not an exact science. And C, it's really not that big of a deal. I'll fix it with a pen and go on with myself. So it's not the end of the world. Now I love that, and that's also why I used the yellow circles over on Thursday because I wanted that to tie in with the balloons because I knew I'd be adding the balloons right there, and so the circles of the paper and the circles of the balloons tie nicely together. Now I know the colors aren't an exact match, and I don't even care because I love the little balloon cluster and I think it's so totally adorable. I'm adding this super cute little banner over the top, and I'm going to write my son's name and birthday that he's turning 17, which I can't believe, by the way, right over the top of the balloons, and I think that turned out so cute. Now I'm going to add a few more notes in the sidebar, things I like to keep track of, and then I'm going to add one little strip of washi down at the bottom, and I am all finished. Thanks so much, guys, for stopping by and watching my video. I really do hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment box below, and I will do my very best to get back to you. Thanks so much, and make it a great day.